Fine, fine, sir.
So, did you, Aisha and Reba, went back and revised what we have discussed till now? What we studied in the homework that I gave you about taxonomy?
What's it?
Did you go back and read about taxonomy?
Yes, sir.
Okay. What about you, Reba?
Yes.
Okay, so well. Okay, welcome Abhinav. Hi Rehab.
Hi, sir.
Hi.
How are you, Abhinav?
Fine, sir. How are you?
I'm good, I'm good. So how's your curiosity?
Good, sir.
Okay. Please keep your microphones on for the class and discussion. And if you wish, you can keep your cameras also on to give me some company. Okay, so I gave you some homework in the last class to go and read about taxonomy. Did you do that? Hello, am I audible?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
So you had to read about taxonomy and a few things, right?
Yes,
So
sir.
today we'll start from where we left. So last time we left at biological nomenclature, right?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
So we'll take forward from here. I think 6 of you have. Just wait for one more minute. Okay, so before everyone joins, anyone has any questions, specific questions that they want to ask me? Any doubt or any question that they came through while studying and revising the notes? Or any random thing that you want to ask me about biology in general? We can do that as well.
Sir, can I ask a question?
Oh yes, Abhinav, actually you asked a question, right? In the last class, you wrote something in
Yes,
the
sir.
chat box, but you did not ask it. So why not ask?
Yes, sir.
Ask it in front of the class so others also know about it. Yes, ask. I saw that chat after the class ended.
Sir,
Yes.
Sir, I wanted to ask, like, we say that everyone has different fingerprints in the world. So
Yeah.
why can't the fingerprints be the same like everyone in the same family or from the previous generations have the same fingerprint? Why can't that be possible?
Yes, right. Very, very good question. And let me tell you that the most interesting part about this question is fingerprints has nothing to do with genetics. You know that? So
No, sir.
it's not that you get a code for your fingerprints from your parents in your genes. It's not about that. So it's a very interesting question. So let's just ask what others think. Anyone who would like to answer Abhinav's question? Why do we all have different fingerprints? Why can't? Okay, let me ask a very specific biological question. Do you think twins? So there are twins. Concept of twins. There are two different kinds of twins.
Yes, sir. One is
Yes, sir.
identical one,
Yes.
and the other one I don't remember the name.
Non-identical. Perfect. You're like, so the identical one is also called zygotic twins.
Yes.
So what do we mean by identical twins is they look exactly the same, right?
Yes, sir.
There are movies also on this concept that like two heroes, the same hero plays double role because they're identical twins.
Mhm.
It's so fake.
Yes. So twins, it's all fake. Who's this?
No,
Please.
it's
The
real.
movies. I know.
Movies are fake. Yes, right. Movies are all fake, but identical twins is a true thing. Have you seen?
Yes, sir. I have
Yes,
seen,
sir.
sir.
Yes, yes.
I've
Yes,
seen.
sir.
Okay. So, but it's a rare phenomena. We don't see it everywhere. Like, you know, everyone must be knowing one or two.
I
of
have
examples.
twins friends and I am
Sorry. The voice got broken in between. Who was speaking?
me, sir. I have many friends, twins, identical.
Many. How many? That's interesting. How many?
2, 3.
So
2, 3 and
is it like on purpose that you go to people and ask, do you have an identical twin? Okay, you can be my friend. Oh, you don't have
was
identical.
not like that. Like we are
It was just luck you ended up with knowing 3 identical twins as your friend.
yes in school. And I am
And
a twin.
are you identical twin?
No, I'm not identical, but I am a
Okay, so you are familiar with both the concepts, non-identical twins as well as
Yes.
identical twins.
So
So it's
my
very-
cousin brothers, they both are twins.
they were identical twins.
Yes, sir.
That's great.
Sir, I have seen triplets.
All same looking.
No, not there are 2 boys and 1 girl.
Yeah, so that's what I'm asking, because being an
Cousin.
identical triplet is so rare that you will never see identical. Like I in my life have never seen an identical triplet. I have seen triplets born. Like for that matter, the record Guinness Book of World Record is for, I think, for 12 or 14 kids born at
12.
12. Yeah.
12, sir.
But identical twin is something entirely different, and because let's start with that only. Let's start with something interesting in science, and of course you are going to study about
When-
it in genetics. Yes.
So when they are newborn at the time, they will look so similar. Like it will be a confusion when they are newborn
Okay.
at that time.
And when they grow up, then you feel that
Little bit different they will look. We
right.
won't get confused.
You will not get confused. You are right. You are very right. So that also has something to do with, genetics. So since we are understanding, let's just understand. I'm not able to. Okay, sorry. Okay, so okay, I can write now. So let's start with twin. Can you see the whiteboard that I've shared?
Yes, sir.
Everyone?
Yes, sir.
Yes,
And it's
sir.
good that we are starting with the curiosity and your curiosity above all, and that's a good thing. Okay, so twins. So twins can be of 2 types, either identical, and all of you know some or the other identical twins. See, the real question still is on fingerprints. Okay, so we are just coming to twins now, and then non-identical twins. Now you already know that identical twins, I told you, they're also called zygotic twins. Okay? And in zygotic also they are sometimes called monozygotic twins or zygotic twins, because there is a reason why they look identical is because there is a reason they look identical, and the reason is because they have exactly the same genes that got, like, they both inherited. And how is it possible? It is only possible, remember, in the above part only, because everything is related. So remember when we studied about reproduction, I told you, did I not told you about reproduction?
Mule example.
No. So first I have to tell you this. So when in a reproduction, there are certain things involved. Okay, so understand this first, and this is related to this chapter and reproduction as well. There is something called gametes. Okay. Now gametes are single cells. They are also called sex cells. Okay. And they are produced by both males and females. Okay. So the gamete produced by Omar, let's admit him. Okay. So the gametes produced by males. So this is the symbol for males. Okay. Just remember it in biology. And this is the symbol for females. Okay. So male gametes are known as spermatozoa. Have I told you about this?
No, sir.
No, sir.
So male gametes are called spermatozoa. In simple terms, they are called sperms. Okay. Female gametes are called as oocyte. I have told you what does the word cyte means, right?
Yes, sir.
What does it mean? Cyte means cell. Wherever the word cyte or cyto comes, it means cell. So oocyte is the female gamete. It's also called ovum, or in your books, it might sometimes be referred to as egg cells. Okay. So both these egg cells and sperms, they fuse together. Okay. There is a fusion of these gametes, and both are single cells. So when two single cells are fusing, and this process of fusion is called fertilization. Remember this?
Fertilization.
So there are different terms in reproduction, all have different meanings, and sometimes students get confused. So let's not get confused now. Fusion of gametes is called fertilization. Okay. Reproduction is not fusion of gametes. Reproduction is the whole process starting from gametes going towards till childbirth. So let's talk about it. Fertilization happens, and what is produced as a part of this fusion, as a result of this fusion, is called a zygote. So zygote comes after gametes. Okay. First thing is gamete. Gametes fertilize and form a zygote. Is it clear? And zygote is also a single cell, because the cells are fusing. They are not adding up. They are fusing into each other. So two cells fusing into each other makes one cell. But what is changed now? The change is in the content of DNA. Remember, I told you that half of our DNA comes from father and half of our DNA comes from mother. You remember that?
Yes, sir.
Yes. So this is how it
Yes,
happens.
sir.
So when males produce sperm, they only put one copy of each chromosome. And you know how many chromosomes humans have? So humans have
23 pairs.
Yes, humans have 23 pairs, out of which 23 pairs means total 46 chromosomes. 23 of which came from mother, and the same 23 came from father. There is a set. So chromosome number 1 will be a pair, like your shoe. So there is a left shoe and a right shoe, right? Then it makes a sense. You can put it and go out. Otherwise you have to just play single leg. So chromosome number 1, there will be a copy from mother, and the same genes will be present on one, which gives like certain characters. Let's say the gene for, it's an example, it's not true. Let's just suppose that the gene for your hair texture, whether your hair will be black, brown, white, golden, blonde, whether it will be curly or straight, the gene of it is present on chromosome number 1. So chromosome number 1 of mother, so I can just write it here. So chromosome number 1 of mother and chromosome number 1 of father both have this gene, but your mother had curly hair, curly black hair, and your father had straight blonde hair. So the gene is same, but the type of characteristic it will provide is different. Do you understand? The gene
Yes,
is
sir.
hair color and texture, but the characteristic is different. For mother it's different, and for father it's different. Now you have two copies. Now you have all the options. Either you can take your mother's texture of hair, or you can take your father's texture of hair, or you can take a combination of both. Remember, your mother had curly and black hair, and your father had, for example, blonde and straight hairs. And there's a possibility that the child can have black but straight hairs. You understand?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes,
It's called variation and mixing of genes and characteristics. So 22 of these pairs are called allosomes. Sorry, autosomes. Just write down. Autosomes. SOMES. There's no space here, so just forgive me. Let's complete it. Autosomes. The word autosomes. And there is one pair which is called allosomes. Okay. SOME. Now this one pair is also called sex chromosome. And this is different in males and females. All other chromosomes are same. And sex chromosomes can be of two types. There is a X chromosome and there is a Y chromosome. Okay. Is it clear?
Yes, sir.
Why I'm telling you all this fundamental? Because it's important for everything. So just let's understand this. Now, a female, the zygote will become a female zygote if this sex chromosome, like this one pair of allosome, so this determines the sex. It is sex determining pair. If you have two X, which means one X came from mother and another X came from father.
Father.
And if you have two X, then the zygote will develop into a female fetus.
Female.
Okay. And if you have one X and one Y, then it will become a male.
Male.
Now with this, you can understand that your parents were also either male or female. So your mother had two X chromosomes. Is it making sense? And your father had one X and one Y chromosome. Okay. Now there is one high order question which comes in NEET. How many different types of gamete can a human female make? Option is 1, 2, 3, 4.
Sir, 1, because both will be X.
Exactly. So either mother gives, so when mother will make a gamete, she will only give half of everything, right? She has. So she has this 22 pair, she will just split it into half, like 22 chromosomes one side, 22 chromosomes one side, but all these chromosomes are same because they are autosomes. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1 to 22 are same. Only this last pair, which is the 23rd pair, is different. But for females, this is also same, right? Both is X. Do you understand?
Yes, sir.
All the females in the house, give me a shout. Do you understand this?
Yes.
This is
sir.
something about
Yes,
you.
sir.
Very
Yes,
good.
sir.
So all the females here. So that's why we say that, mothers never discriminates. Mother love is universally true and stable, even biologically proven, because mother gives same chromosome both to the boy and the girl, both X. She says that, both are my kids and I love them equally. So I'm going to give everything equally to them. So your mother either gave you X or X. Whereas father, when fathers will make gametes, how many different kind of gametes can a male human make? 1, 2, 3, 4. Now Abhinav will not speak.
2.
Sir, 2, sir.
Two.
Arre. Okay, Abhinav. My mistake that I did a failed attempt to stop you and your curiosity. It's fine. So there will be two different kind of gametes formed by a
Sir.
male. Yes. Yes, go on.
Sir, your voice was breaking in between. I couldn't hear.
Okay. Is it clear now? Is it fine now, everyone?
Yes.
Yes,
sir.
sir.
Is it breaking for others as well?
No,
Yes,
sir.
sir.
It's clear. Sir.
I heard both yes and no. Okay.
No.
Okay, it's fine. So I was saying that fathers can make two different kind of gametes. One with 22 normal autosomes plus an X, and the other with 22 autosomes plus and a Y.
Why?
Why?
And again, it makes sense to you. If a father is giving X, mother is always giving X. So if a father is giving X, I'm teaching you sex determination here, which comes in genetics, but let's discuss
Then
it
a
here.
female.
So if a father gives X chromosome, then the zygote will be
Female.
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 And if the father gives Y chromosome, then the zygote will be.
Male.
So who
Male.
is responsible for determining the sex of the baby?
Male.
Father.
Father.
Male.
But who have we always condemned throughout history to not give birth to sons?
Mother.
Mother.
Society.
Society is illiterate
Says.
and
Yes.
does not read biology. That's why biology is one of the most important branches of science. Galileo knew everything about stars and society accepted it. Yes, we have stars, sun, and we are revolving around sun, but we still continued to blame mothers for giving rise to either sons or daughters, right? So this is where
Yes.
biology comes to the picture and says, okay, biology stands for equality and rights. Feminism started from chromosomes. So females are always balanced in terms of chromosomes, and males are the determining factors. Okay. Now this zygote, whatever it will have. So zygote, why I taught you this, because now you understand that zygote will have a double copy, double number of DNA. So we call it 2n. And this is called ploidy of DNA. Ploidy. Ploidy means just the number. What is the number of DNA content? So if a zygote is 2n, what will be a spermatozoa and a oocyte, which means gametes? It will be n, 1n, single n. So in biology, we often denote n and 2n. So whenever there is a n, you understand it's a gamete. Okay, clear?
Yes, sir.
Whenever
Yes,
there is
sir.
a 2n, it is a zygote or anything which comes after zygote. But this zygote is still a single cell. Now this single cell starts dividing and making multiple cells. Okay, and all these multiple cells stays together in a bunch, like a bunch of grapes. And when a zygote becomes multicellular, it's no longer called a zygote, it's called an embryo. So what is the difference between an embryo and a zygote?
The zygote is a single cell, whereas an embryo is a bunch of cells.
Yes, so zygote is unicellular and embryo is multicellular. But even in the embryo, all the cells are somewhat similar, like they have just divided and they are present as a group. But in a human, when a baby is born, is every cell same? No. Baby has skin cells, brain cell, eye cell, bone, tissues, everything, all the organization. I told you about cellular organization, right? You
Yes.
remember? Tissue cells
Yes,
make
sir.
tissue, tissues make organ. So for all that, we need different kind of cells. Now this embryo starts developing into different kind of cells, and different organs and limbs starts generating. And then we call that thing fetus. A fetus is an advanced stage of embryo where organogenesis has started. What has started?
Organogenesis.
Now write this word, organogenesis. The word organ means the organs that we have. And genesis, always, wherever the word genesis in biology will come,
Genesis, production.
no, it's called origin or beginning. Okay. Origin or beginning is called genesis. So there is a book called Genesis of Life. It does not tell you about reproduction. It tells you about evolutionary beginning of life, how life started as a single cell. So genesis means or beginning. So when organogenesis starts, we call it fetus. And a fetus remains a fetus till it is inside the womb of the mother. And only after the birth, we call it infant. Okay, the terms like baby and child and kid are very human centric. Kid is a human kid. We never say kid of any other organism. Okay, for every other organism there is a name. Like for dogs, it's the kids of dogs are called puppies, and the kids of cats are called kittens. Okay, like that. So infant is a newborn. So after birth, we start calling it infant. So will you remember now the term gamete, zygote, embryo, fetus, and infant?
Yes, sir.
And also the series in which they come?
Yes, sir.
This
Yes.
flow chart has come in neat ones. What is the right flow of a reproductive event for a gamete? So it starts with gamete, zygote, embryo, fetus, and infant. Is it clear? Now
Yes,
I told
sir.
you everything to now tell you about identical and non-identical twins, and then we'll go to fingerprints. So identical twins happens at this stage. I'm marking it, zygote. So at the level of zygote, the moment a zygote is formed, it is decided whether they are, so what is decided at the point of zygote? Whether it's going to be a male or a female, whether it's good, and all the other characteristics, right? Everything is decided at the level of zygotes. And this zygote, when it attempts to divide and become embryo, what happens is, for embryo, it should stick together, all these cells. So there is one cell and it divides to form two. Now these two should stick together, right? And keep on dividing.
Yes, sir.
But if by chance, it's a rare event where upon
They
division,
go apart.
they fall apart and they go and get placed at different parts in the womb and again starts dividing. So even if a zygote divides into 2 or 3 cells and 2 goes to one side and 1 goes to other side, and starts developing as embryo, both the embryos will develop the same, right? But both the embryos will have exactly the same kind of features, exactly the same hair color, eye color, skin texture, and the sex. Is it clear? So the question which was
Yes,
asked
sir.
in NEET was, can identical twins be of different sexes?
No.
It is never possible. Identical twins will always have the same sex, either it's two boys or two girls, but non-identical twins can have different sexes. Non-identical twins simply means, so which event decides identical twins? The zygote. At the level
Zygote.
of zygote it is decided. And where is non-identical twin decided? At the level,
Embryo.
no, at the level of fertilization. Okay, now how I am going to tell you. So non-identical twins simply means that there were two babies delivered at the same time, right?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Both can be boys looking differently, both can be girls, one can be boy and the other can be girl, right? But they will all have different features. Is it clear?
Yes.
Because
Yes, sir.
what happened
Yes,
was,
sir.
normally in humans, every month, so I'm now going into little bit detail of reproduction. Okay, it's okay for everyone, because that anyway you have to study, so let's study it here only. Okay, everyone okay with that? We are bringing
Yes, sir.
reproduction. Okay,
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
so female reproductive system, every human female have two ovaries, right? The ovaries are the female reproductive glands. Okay, ovaries make ovum, which is the gamete, and for males it's called testes. One is called testis and plural is called testes, TES. Okay, this is the male gland, male organ, which produces sperms. Now females have two ovaries, okay, both situated on left and right of the lower abdomen. One is at the right of the lower abdomen, one is at the left of the lower abdomen. And every alternate month, so each ovary produces an ovums every alternate month after maturity, after sexual maturation, which is also called puberty. So you must be knowing all these terms. Okay, I'm just first going through it, then we will come into the details in the chapters which we will follow. Okay, so every month only one ovary releases one ovum. So let's say in January it's the left ovary that released one ovum, so right ovary will not release anything. That is the normal cycle. Is it clear to everyone? Right ovary
Yes.
will release in February, and then March, April, May, June, and keeps on going like that. Okay, sometimes what happens, both the ovaries release in the same month. You know, it's because of any kind of discrepancy. You know, on the left ovary could not WhatsApp at the right moment, right time to the right ovary. You see, my beloved sister, this is my month. So there was some miscommunication, and I'm just telling you in a very layman term, but exactly there is a miscommunication, but it's called a chemical miscommunication, and we'll come to that, hormonal miscommunication. But there is something like that, and both have ovaries released. So now there are two ovums coming from both left and right ovary into the uterus, right? And when male sperms, because they are in millions, you know, when male and female copulates, male sperms are in millions of numbers. So two sperms at the same time in the same month fertilizes two different ovums. Is it clear to you?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
So it is just a standout event, like both are independent fertilization event and normal. Okay, so those twins are called non-identical twins because anything can happen. Another rare phenomena is, all there are possibilities that one of that zygote split. So you can also find where at the same time, it's again rare, I have never seen it, but there's a triplet that is born, but two of them are identical twins and one is a non-identical another sibling. It's possible, right? Because now you understand the whole concept, so you
Yes,
can understand it's possible. So if a question comes on twins, they will give you different hypothetical situations. You can figure out which is possible and which is not possible, right? Okay, say yes or no.
Yes, sir.
Yes, right. Okay, so this was about twins. So you understand, we'll again come back to this in detail. But now the point was, the question was, which we started with, and we have to understand everything. To understand the question is, why everyone has different fingerprints in the world? And my question was, listen to my question first, Reba. It's interesting. Do you think that identical monozygotic twins will have same fingerprint?
No.
No.
No, sir.
No.
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 Are you
Yes,
sure,
sir.
or-
Because in the starting itself, sir, you said that it is like not even related to DNA or genes.
Oh shit. So it's because I gave you the answer surely. So you're like, oh, it's no, sir, because you only blabbered about it. It's your bad.
Yeah.
Maybe I was just trying to trick you. You know, I have done it in the past, and I'll keep doing it in the future as well. So now think and tell me. Do identical monozygotic twins have same fingerprints?
No.
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 No, sir.
Are you sure?
Yes.
Who is
Yes.
sure and wants to bet with me, let's say 1,000 real?
I have only 150.
Okay, 150 real. Are you willing to bet it, to say that they don't
No,
have?
sir.
No. Okay, very good. This is called an intelligent investor. It's fine. See, fingerprints has nothing to do with genetics. You know that sometimes, you know that you can erase your fingerprints. People can erase their
Yes.
fingerprints.
Yes, sir.
How?
By burning the epidermis skin.
So cruel. You burn the skin, you know, take off the thumb. There is no thumb, no thumbprint. Okay, but yes, there are, we can actually, so fingerprints don't go very deep inside our, like the first layer of tissues. If it's removed, so next time when the fingerprint comes back, do you think it's different or it's same?
It's same.
It's same. Yes, it's same. So I'm confusing you a lot. Okay. Now take it as a take-home assignment, because I know that you all are very curious. Do identical monozygotic twins have same fingerprint? Is the first question. And second is, if we remove someone's fingerprint, you know that fingerprints will come back, right? Because the skin will again grow. And I give you a hint why all these pattern of prints are there. It's because of stress and pressure on our skin when it's developing inside the embryo, when we were developing as a fetus. You know, all these lines in our hand, that does not tell you about your future. That is a lie. It's because the way we fold our hands, there are some weak points, just like in the earth crust. So the weakest point in our hands is this, because to make a fist, we need this region to fold, right? And fingers also to fold. And that's why we have these marks. So they're not telling you how long you will live. They're just telling you, okay, you can fold your hand properly, biologically speaking. So go back and find out if identical twins have same fingerprint to begin with. And if I erase the fingerprint of any human, the subsequent fingerprint that will come, will it be same or different? Okay. So I'm just keeping you a little bit longer enough to give answers to your question and discuss, because I don't want to answer it myself. I want you to find it and then discuss it with me. Is it fine, or are you going to curse me for that?
Okay, sir.
No, it's fine.
No, sir.
Okay,
It's fine,
very good.
sir.
Thank you so much. So let's come back to where we were. So where were we? Okay, we're in biological nomenclature. Now I ask you to read about taxonomy. So tell me something about taxonomy. Who has read about taxonomy as a homework?
I have read it.
Yes, tell me, please. What do you understand by the term?
Actually, I wrote it in my notebook. Can I see answer?
Of course, of course. I never ask you to memorize and come in my class. Just find out, write it down somewhere and come and discuss. The part where it has to go into your memory, rest with me. I am responsible for that. I'll make sure you remember it. So what do you understand by taxonomy?
Taxonomy is a branch of biological sciences It is the way species are categorized on the basis of similarity and dissimilarity, and species are named. It is divided into taxa by organism. In taxonomy, the principal ranks are there are 7 levels.
Okay, okay, okay. Very good, very good. So you have figured it out from A to Z, but I just wanted the basics. So to begin with, so one thing which she said, and let's come to the important point she said. One is it's the science of classifying. Okay.
Classifying.
Yes. So one thing is it's the science of classifying organisms. And then last class we also discussed briefly that why we need to classify organisms, right? Because we have to study them, and all the organisms are different. There are millions of species, and we want to study all these species, and it's not possible in anyone's lifetime to study all these species if we want. So we classify them into different categories. Second thing she said was also something about
Similarity and dissimilarity.
yes. So it's based on, now how do we classify? We classify on the basis of dissimilarities and similarities. Okay. Now what kind of dissimilarities and similarities comes to the focal point of discussion? Now write down a few definitions first for your exams. Basically write down what is taxonomy. So taxonomy is the branch of studying different organisms. It's the branch studying different organisms through classifying them in different categories on the basis of certain similarities and dissimilarities. Certain similarities and dissimilarities. Now there is another term. Have you also figured out something about it, which is called hierarchy? You know what is hierarchy? Sorry. You studied some. Did you figure out something about hierarchy? Anyone? What is a hierarchy? Is no one speaking? What happened? Everyone is silent all of a sudden.
Sir, I know like what is hierarchy, but I don't know how to explain it.
And you don't know
Sir,
what
it's
is
like
hierarchy.
ranks.
It's like I
Sir,
can
it's
say
like
I have
the ranking of on the
I don't
basis
know how
of.
to spend it. Yes.
Like
Sir, 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 I
ranking
know.
organisms. Like,
Organizing.
Yes, right. Organizing what? What are the
and ranking them. Like,
Organizing organisms on the basis of their complexity.
No, but we are already doing that while we are classifying. Right? When we are classifying, we are classifying into different categories, which are called taxonomic categories. So taxonomic categories are made on the basis of certain similarities, dissimilarities, their complexities, and everything. So that we already done. Now what
so
is
is it
hierarchy?
like who is more important and then who is not that important? Like,
To
so
whom?
on. Okay. So
Importance is always very
Is a
subjective,
majority.
right? Maybe for me,
Sir,
dogs are not important. Yes.
sir,
Yes.
sir, can we say like you start making the group more specific to a similarity?
No.
Like these
Whenever
organisms are fair.
whenever you are speaking about similarities and dissimilarities, so these are very confusing terms, and they are often quizzed on in your boards and as well as in your entrance. So there are many confusing questions that can be created, and I will be giving you one such assignment where some confusing questions will be there. But let's prepare for that. Whatever all of you are telling me, apart from that importance or disimportance point, that does not hold here at all. Similarities, dissimilarities, classifying, complexity, everything that we are doing to create taxonomic categories. So all this science of taxonomy we are doing to create some categories which we call taxonomic categories. So the above definition which you wrote is to produce taxonomic categories. So if someone asks you what is taxonomic categories, you will write exactly the same definition, but saying that the different categories which are made on the basis of similarities and dissimilarities to classify organisms is called taxonomic categories. Now I'm asking, what is a taxonomic hierarchy? The same word, hierarchy in a taxonomic term. What is a taxonomic hierarchy? Now answer. Yes, think and answer.
All the taxonomic categories together.
Perfect, right? See, brain starts working when you start applying it. So hierarchy is for these categories, whatever we made here. Okay. So when we make categories, and if I ask you to, so if I tell you, you come and start complaining to me, ki, oh, sir, we cannot study million of species, so we will not study biology. So I'll say, okay, let me classify them for you into different taxonomic categories. And I gave you all the categories, just like this. Take, there are 100 categories. Now study. But still you can question that where to begin with, right? How should I start studying? Like, which category should I start first and which category should I start later on? Because remember, we made the categories on the basis of certain complexity features, similarities, dissimilarities, and everything, right?
Yes, sir.
Yes.
So now it's another level of understanding. So now we understand these categories by arranging it into a flow chart or in a hierarchy where one will come after the other. You understand? So each category now will be referred to as one unit. So whatever we made here, all these categories, every category will be called one unit in classification. And this one unit is also called a taxon. Write it down. What is a taxon? It asks. It's a single unit of a taxonomic category. So we made thousands of categories. Out of that, one is called a taxon. Okay. And when it's plural, it's called taxa. And when we put all of them together in a flow, in a logical flow, it's called hierarchy. Now, is there any confusion between these three terms? No?
No, sir.
Okay. So, for example, let me give you an example of this, because, for example, let's say let's take an example of insects. Okay. So insects represents one group of organisms, right? So insects is a taxon, right?
Yes, sir.
And all these insects, what all insects have common? Anything that every insect has common?
6 legs.
Yes, they have 3 pair of legs. Okay, so this is that one characteristic on the basis of which we created this one taxon, right? And just like insects, there will be many other organisms which will have something similar and something different. Like, do you know about spiders? You don't know anything about spiders? Spider-Man, you've seen Spider-Man's king has this spider made.
I know. Sir.
So is a spider an insect?
Yeah.
No.
No.
Spiders are not insects. Now you start giving some respect to Spider-Man. He's an Avenger. He's not a mere insect. Spiders are not insect because the characteristic feature of insects is having 3 pair of legs.
They have 8 legs.
And spiders do not have 3 pairs of legs. They have
8.
Yes, which means 4 pairs
4 pairs.
of legs. Now this makes them different from insects. Another taxon, right? One taxon, another taxon. Is it clear? But
Yes,
what
sir.
do they have in common? The common thing they have is that both have joint legs, joint appendages. Both have appendages. Both have joints in their legs. Have you seen their legs properly? Insects ka leg or even spider ka leg? It starts from the body. So let's say, sorry, this is the body. The legs start, and then there is a joint, and then there is a joint. It's something like this, right?
Yes,
Yes.
sir.
It's something like this, more better drawn. So it's like our finger. but our finger has joint inside. It's not visible on the outside, but we know that we have a joint here and a joint here because we can bend it at these two joints, right? And also we have a marking, but we know that the actual joint is inside. But for insect's leg, the joint is visible outside, and that is called joint appendages. And this word joint appendages in biology is called arthropoda. So you are going to study this thing. The word arthro means joint, and the word poda means appendages or legs. Is it clear?
Yes, sir.
The word arthropoda itself means that they have joints in their legs. Have you heard of a disease called arthritis?
Yes, sir.
Yes.
What happens in arthritis? See, now you're a biologist. This
Yes, sir.
is not the first
Bone
class.
Problem in the joints.
Problem in the joints. It's not a bone problem. So let me tell you the difference between bone problem is a fracture. So in a hand, if something is problematic here, it's a bone problem. Or suppose there's a calcium deposition somewhere in the bone, it's a bone problem. Or if the bone after a fracture could not fuse properly in the same plane, it's a bone problem. But if something is problematic between the two bones joining at a region, which is called joints. So in arthritis, people always have their knuckles hurting because it is a joint, right? They also have their their knees hurting and their elbows hurting, right?
Yes, sir.
Yes.
So that is called arthritis. Now again, as I told you that you have to make a terminology section. So write down in your terminology section this word. Arthritis and arthropoda. Now here also the word arthro is there. Again, the word arthro or arthra means joints. It's same. And the word itis, everywhere in biology, everywhere the word itis, itis means inflammation. Okay, so you're going to be future doctors and future nurses, so you must be knowing arthritis. Make sense? Inflammation in the joints.
Yes, sir.
Hepatitis, another disease. And if I tell you the word hepat means liver, what is hepatitis?
Liver
Inflammation of the
inflammation.
liver.
Liver
Exactly. Conjunctivitis. The word conjunctive means this tear gland of the eye.
Inflammation of the tear gland.
Yeah, in fact, so inflammation of the eye, conjunctivitis, people wear these black goggles. So you understand? Any itis
Yes, sir.
from now onward?
Yes,
Hepatitis,
sir.
Inflammation.
arthritis, conjunctivitis, and there are many more. So wherever the word itis come, it means inflammation. So now are you appreciating the reason for understanding terminology?
Yes, sir.
Yes. Now both of these classes, insects and spiders, both belong to arthropoda as a phylum. So both belong to this. Now this is also one taxon, and these are also taxons. So all these taxons are put together to make categories. So this is one category where we are putting more than one type of organisms into the same thing. So if I start making a hierarchy now, in the hierarchy, what will come at the top? Arthropoda or insects? Arthropoda, because inside arthropoda there can be insects and there can also be spiders. Is it clear to you?
Yes, sir.
This is a hierarchy.
Yes, sir.
Even if we go inside the insects now, then there will be house flies, mosquitoes, and everything else. Even in spiders, there will be many things. Do you understand what is hierarchy?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Very
Yes,
good.
sir.
Very good. So this was about taxonomic hierarchy. So write down taxonomic. How should I define it? I'm trying to make it easier for you. So write down different taxonomic categories. Different taxonomic categories are arranged which together makes a taxonomic hierarchy. Which together makes a taxonomic hierarchy. Is it clear?
Yes, sir.
Now let's go to everything that is about taxonomic hierarchy. So this starts for this. I will just, where is my cursor? Oh, where is my cursor? I will just take, we'll go simultaneously. Understanding? So first thing is, let me ask you, what is a species? Define species for me. Let's start from there.
A group of individual organisms
Yes, yes.
with similar
Similar what? With similar
features.
features.
With similar features.
We also have many similar features with chimpanzees.
Yes.
What? Yes, Mariam, you cannot do this. You cannot define something and then when I'm arguing, you say yes, and then if you're saying yes to this, then your whole definition of species is wrong. So you have to be defending it. So you are right, you are on a correct course, but there is something very crucial. Remember when I told you about reproduction, I told you about mules?
Mules, yes. So
Yes, so what? I'm giving you hint.
same group of, or yeah, they can reproduce naturally with each other, but if they're from
Exactly.
different species, they cannot reproduce
Exactly.
together.
So a better way to define a species is a group of organism with the most number of similar features. Okay, because no one shares more similar features with each other than species. Human shares most number of similar features with human, but not with chimpanzees. But there are many similar features that we also share with chimpanzees, right? Like the number of digits that we have in our hand and the placement. So write down, define species, it comes. So a species is a group of individual organisms. Species is a group of individual organisms A species is a group of individual organisms with most fundamental similarities. With most fundamental similarities and naturally can reproduce among themselves. And naturally can reproduce among themselves. And of course, to reproduce, we need opposite genders from the same species. Okay, that is common sense. Are you done with the definition? Should I move forward?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Now, why did I ask? Yes. Do you want me to repeat it, Kezia?
Yes, sir.
Okay, fine. So everyone understood.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
We have Omar in the group as well. Omar, again, I have not heard your voice. At least say hello to me.
Hello.
Thank you. Okay. So let's go with the classification. So let the fundamental unit of classification or the taxonomic hierarchy is a species, which I have defined for you. And an example for this we'll take is humans, right? We all are one species, and what is our species called?
Homo sapiens.
Homo sapiens.
Homo sapiens. Right? More than one species together, there are, so there can be multiple species, as I told you for Homo also. So this is a binomial nomenclature, right? This is genus and this is species. So our species is sapiens. What is our species? Sapiens. Homo is not our species. Homo is our genus. Okay. So sapiens is for humans. The common name is humans. Now, more than one species together can come into another hierarchy, which is a higher level. So I'm going opposite. Do you understand? Do you appreciate? I'm going from the lowest to the highest. In your books, it is given from the highest to the lowest, but I have realized that over time, it's easier to understand it like this. So species comes at the very bottom. You understand this?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Or just to avoid confusion, let me do one thing. let us start with, let us start, but then it becomes difficult to understand. Okay, let me go through this first and then we'll reverse the order. Is it fine?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so species, more than one species form one genus, and that genus was called Homo for humans. This is the example this side. So sapiens is a species, Homo is a genus, and in this genus Homo there are many species which are like sapiens, erectus, habilis. All this comes under the genus Homo. Homo sapiens, Homo erectus, Homo habilis. We will learn about all of this. Then more than one genus together, what do they form? Family. Yes. Yeah. It's different from the family that we live in. It does not mean that in our family we have all different genus. This is a more scientific term for a family. So a family, what is the family of humans? Anyone knows? It's called Hominidae. Or it's also called Hominidae, hominids. We are all hominids, Hominidae. Oh. This is the family name, Hominidae. Okay, and in this family also comes a lot of other organisms that are still alive. You know, chimpanzees come in hominids, they're also hominids. So we are going, so as we are moving from species to family to genus, tell me the characteristic features, similar characteristic features are increasing or decreasing?
Decreasing.
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 Yes. So family is Hominidae, and then from family we come to order. Okay. And the order for humans is, have you heard the term primates? We are primates. The order is
Yes, sir.
Primata. There are other primates living with us. You know, monkeys, baboon, gorilla, orangutan,
Gorillas.
chimpanzees, and humans all are primates. Okay. So they all come under the same umbrella of primates. And as we go from order, many orders together come and form one class. Okay. And the class for humans is Mammalia. We are all mammals. You all also must have heard the term mammal, right? This is our class. So we are all mammals. And more than one class together comes and forms one phylum. Okay. And you have to remember that in case of animals, it is called phylum, whereas in case of plants, it is called division. Just another word given to phylum. Sometimes they confuse you through asking what is the division. Okay. It's the phylum. So you have to define it exactly the same. Okay. And the phylum for humans is?
Chordates.
Yes, we are chordata. Chordata is the phylum. We are all chordates. There are many chordates like us who does not look like us at all. And more than one phylum come together to form a
Kingdom.
kingdom. And human kingdom is Animalia.
Animalia.
Okay. There are 5 such kingdoms. Animalia is one of this, which is the example for humans. Apart from Animalia, we have
Planting.
other kingdoms. One is
Plante.
Plante,
Star.
Plante.
2 plantes.
Protista.
What? What?
Plantes.
Yeah, tell me, someone was saying something which was, I think, right. One is fungi. Fungi, plant, Animalia. Then there were Protista. Was someone saying this?
Yes, sir. Me.
Yes. Right. When it comes to taking credits, we are Homo sapiens. Now, I was saying this. Animalia, Plantae, Fungi, Protista, and
Monera.
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 Perfect. So we will study. So next chapter is dedicated to study of this. But it's very important to understand why are we studying this and where it came from. It came from this taxonomic hierarchy that has been created as a part of taxonomic study to understand and study all the different organisms which are present on the planet. Is it clear?
Yes.
Any doubt? So always remember this flow chart as well. So in your book, it's given from opposite, like it comes from the least similar characters to the most similar characters. So wherever you are making it, just write down somewhere that they have the most similarity. They are most similar characters, and kingdom has least similar characters. But still there are similarities that has to be there, right? Because if we all come in animal kingdom, we, cats, dogs, earthworm, cockroaches are all in animal kingdom. Now, what is common between human, cats, dogs, earthworm, and cockroach? Tell me. What do you think is similar?
Reproduction.
Reproduction.
2 legs and 2
legs.
4. I mean, 2
When did
legs and 2
cockroaches-
hands.
Have you seen a cockroach with 2 legs and 2 hands? Is it this Cartoon Network thing that is spoiling your science education?
No, I mean, sir, between
Cockroach is an
cats and humans.
insect. Cockroach is an insect, right? So how many legs
Yes.
do an insect has? You only told me.
6.
You people only told me 6. So which of them are hands and which of them are legs? You know, this kind of thing does not apply for a cockroach. But still, if we place it in the same kingdom, there has to be something similar, right? So we
Cell
will-
division.
cell division even happen in plants. Come on, it even happen in fungi. It even happen in protists, and bacteria divides, that I already told you above. But it's good that you're giving wrong answers, because when you will be, over with all your wrong answers, you will start giving right answers. This is how education works. Tell them everything that was wrong. When everything that was wrong finished, then they will start discussing what is right. To begin with, when every field was being developed, we were wrong at times. Someone, Copernicus, came and said that Earth is at the center and sun revolves around the Earth. And at that point of time, it was actually the heliocentric model of, the geocentric model of universe. Geo means Earth in the center. Geocentric, the word says. And people used to study that because that was the education of that time. And then we realized it was wrong. So some things fundamental are always right. So this is right. And whatever we are going to study about it afterwards is the advanced thing. Do you understand? So let me take a vote here. So do you want me to start with chapter 2? Because the class was actually scheduled for 1 hour. But if you allow me, I can start chapter 2 and take half an hour more. If all of you want that. Is it fine?
Fine, sir.
Yes, sir.
Everyone, or someone has
Yes,
some
sir.
pre-schedules? Kezia, Omar, Nida. Because is it fine, Nida?
Yes, sir.
Omar, Kezia?
Continue, sir.
Okay. Thank you, Captain, my captain. I really like the way Omar gives me just pinpointed instructions or answers. It's interesting. Okay, so let's begin with what we are discussing here. So whatever we are discussing for the next half an hour is a part of your next chapter. Okay. I'm just making a demarcation, but it's because you will be shared these notes, so you should know where it starts. The next chapter is biological classification. So tell me, what do you understand by the term? No, I'll not ask you. What do you understand by the term when I say that all animals? Again, coming back to this discussion, all animals are animals. Now we have to go to fundamental. Do you remember studying cell in your class 9, 10th?
Yes.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
And what did you study in cell?
Nucleus. Cytoplasm.
Did you not study, first of all, that there are 2 different kind of cells, an animal cell and a plant
There's eukaryotic and
Yes, sir.
prokaryotic.
and a eukaryotic?
And prokaryotic cells.
Exactly right. So I will not start with the kingdoms today. In this half an hour, I'm going to give you some details of cell. Okay. So now pay attention. Now tell me what is required to make a cell. So a cell, first define what is a cell. A cell is the fundamental and structural unit of all living systems. Okay. When I say fundamental, it means that this is where everything begins. And when I say structural, I mean organization. Coming back to the cellular organization in your life process. Can you relate everything that you are studying now? Slowly?
Yes, sir.
Yes. So it's the fundamental and structural unit of living systems or life. Okay. Now to make any cell, let's make a cell here. Now I will be choosing different colors. This is my favorite part. Push it. Okay. To make a cell, what do we need first? Of course, we need a boundary, right? Because it's a compartment. It's a closed compartment where we say that inside this is a living system and outside this is environment, right?
Plasma membrane.
Yes. So there has to be something. There has to be something which is surrounding it. And this something is called
Plasma
plasma membrane.
membrane. Plasma membrane.
Now again, you will be asked question on everything. Why it is called plasma? When I told
Because it is fluid.
yes, it is not strict like a solid wall. It is something like fluid. You know, it's squishy wishy. And it's a membrane. Why do we call it a membrane?
Because it is closed.
Okay. But membrane also implies that it's not, we could also have called it sheet, plasma sheet. Because membranes are porous. All membranes can allow something to go inside and something to come out. So plasma membrane is called semi-permeable. Write it down. And it's called semi-permeable because it can allow the movement of substances inside and outside. You remember I told you while teaching respiration that glucose is broken down inside the cell.
Yes, sir.
But how does glucose reach every cell? You are not going and lying down in a tub full of glucose and all your cells are just absorbing glucose right from there. You are eating something which is going into your digestive system and breaking it down, and then your glucose is being absorbed in your bloodstream, and that blood, like a vendor, is moving everywhere in your body saying, buy glucose, buy glucose, buy glucose, and all your cells, when they require glucose, they are absorbing that glucose from the bloodstream. So that glucose molecule can easily enter in and out of the cell, each and every cell of your body, because you have glucose receptors. Things move in and out through two ways. One is called active transport. It's again important for metabolism. Just understand it here. One is called active transport and one is called passive transport. Perfect. Now, active transport means it requires money. And what is the money of the cell? What is the currency of the cell?
ATP.
ATPs. In other words, it requires energy. It utilizes energy to happen. So active transport is you making a courier through a company which is taking money from you or doing the service. Passive transport is something which does not requires any energy. Now, if you do not require any energy, just think like a biologist now. If you do not require any energy, then do you think you can regulate or control the flow of that transport? Like you are not spending any energy. Can you regulate that transport?
Sir.
No. It's very intuitive to think no. But still,
Yes.
passive transport is not very random. Inside a living system, passive transport is also regulated. How do you think the regulation happens? So one example of passive transport is diffusion. Have you read about diffusion? And let me go to Omar for this. Omar, have you studied diffusion? Omar does not want to talk to me clearly. Anyone else? Nida, Kezia?
Yes, sir. Hello.
Is the
Yes, Omar, you're here. Okay, fine. I'll come to you, Nida. Just be there. Omar, I was asking, what do you understand by diffusion? Have you read the word diffusion?
Yes, sir.
Yes. What do you mean by that? Is diffusion random?
No.
No. You are saying diffusion is not random. That what governs diffusion?
Sir, can you repeat?
What governs, what dictates diffusion? How does diffusion takes place? You can also explain with an example. You know any example of things diffusing?
Yes, sir.
Yes. What is that?
It spreads in air.
It spreads in the air. You are saying,
Hmm.
right?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Let me take this discussion forward, and now Kezia and Nida can also come in and answer. So, have you ever experienced that someone who has applied a perfume or itr,
Yes, sir.
and it enters the person enters the room, you know, in the first 5 or 10 minutes everyone can figure out where that person is in the room, right?
Yes.
yes, sir.
You know the direction, because there is a source from where the itr molecules, or the molecules which are having that pleasant smell, is emanating, coming out, and then they're going in the whole environment. And when they're going out, they are just randomly going everywhere. That is random. But the start point is not random. It's only starting from a person who has it, who has enough of it to begin with, and the molecules will diffuse towards the region where the molecules are not present. This is called a concentration gradient. Okay. So diffusion always takes place from a region of high concentration to a region of
Low
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 concentration.
concentration.
Exactly. So write down passive transport ब्रैकेट में diffusion ब्रैकेट में osmosis. All follow the same rule. Osmosis is just diffusion of water. So just because water is the most important solvent in biological system, everything is soluble in water. Like everything that is inside the cell is present in water. So all our fluids are basically water-based, biological fluids, apart from some which are like our oils that we secrete. They are fat-based. But the diffusion of water from its high concentration to its low concentration is called osmosis. Okay? But it's the same concept. So write down passive transport, diffusion, and osmosis works by the concept of concentration gradient. Works by the concept of concentration gradient. That is, they always move from a region of high concentration. They always move from a region of high concentration to a region of low concentration. From a region of high concentration to a region of low concentration without utilizing energy. Without utilizing energy. Everyone has noted? Shall I move forward?
Yes.
Yes. Okay. Now plasma membrane. So lot of things move through active transport in plasma membrane to and fro, and lot of things just diffuse passively. For example, water. You know, water is such a common thing and such an important normal thing that if you start using energy to move water in your body, you will die. Because water is everywhere, right? We are 70% water. Have you heard this or read this fact? A human body is 70% water.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
So if you put a tax on 70% of the activities or the movements, then do you think will you ever be able to get so much of energy? Because even for your cellular dissolution of things, you will need energy for that. Then that's why water moves freely. Wherever is less water, more water moves from its higher concentration to its region of low concentration. So have you ever thought of what happens when you drink water? Why do we feel thirsty and what happens when we drink water? Never thought of it, right?
Body hydrates.
Very intelligent answer, Rehab. You know, it's like, what is a processor? The one that processes something. Exactly. So water hydrates the body, so body hydrates, right? But I'll also tell you what happens in detail later on. If you are interested, try to find out. It's just a fun thing. Now let's come back to plasma membrane. So there has to be an covering to regulate these things called plasma membrane. And inside that plasma membrane, what has to be there?
Cytoplasm.
Cytoplasm. And what is a cytoplasm? The words cyto and plasm I have already told you.
A jelly-like region within the cell.
Cyto means cell and plasma means fluid.
It's not jelly like, basically it's present everywhere. It's the solvent. It's like the environment of the cell. Just like in your room you are sitting in, the environment is made up of air. It's gaseous. Similarly, the environment inside a cell is not gaseous, it's liquid, and that thing is called cytoplasm, which is inside. Now the cytoplasm is more than 90% water only. So cytoplasm is the environment of which is present inside the cell. And what is present inside the cell which is more important?
Nucleus.
Nucleus. There is something called nucleus, so which is at the very inside and most important. And what is a nucleus? So let me make a nucleus. So let's say this is a nucleus. And remember that nucleus is a double membranous structure. You know, nuclear is so special that it itself has a membrane, and not one, two. It is in Z security. So think as this plasma membrane as the wall, as the boundary of your house. You know, cell is just like a house. So you have, the house is, you know, covered in all the directions, and in think as nucleus as the most safest vault which is there in your house, containing all your important documents, jewelry, cash which you keep in your house. You just do not keep your house papers and LIC papers hanging on the door, right? You keep it somewhere protected, which again will have a lock and a key mechanism. So that is nucleus. So nucleus, write down, it's a dual membranous organelle. Nucleus is double membranous organelle. And why are we keeping so much of security? What is inside the nucleus?
Genetic material.
Genetic material.
So most important thing inside the nucleus is the genetic material. Yes, you're right. And what is this genetic material?
DNA and RNA.
DNA.
Do we have both?
Yes.
No. Inside the nucleus, yes, you are right, we have both, but in a different context. But as our genetic material, humans and higher organisms, genetic material is DNA. Okay. RNA can also be a genetic material, but it's for lower organisms. You understand? Now, since we have started DNA, let me just tell you what is DNA, what it stands for.
Deoxyribonucleic acid.
Yes, it is deoxyribonucleic acid. Okay, it's an acid group. D for deoxy, N for nucleic, and A for acid. Deoxyribonucleic acid. And what is RNA?
Ribonucleic acid.
Ribonucleic acid. So the difference you can figure out is in the deoxy group. So DNA has a deoxy group on it. RNA is ribonucleic acid. Also, the difference is DNA is double stranded, like this. So you imagine a stair, you know, a stair, like it has two backbones, and then there are regions where we put our steps, you know, the steps. So imagine a stair and then just twist it. So when we will twist a stair, it will look something like this, a double stranded structure. So it has a backbone and it has steps in between. You understand? Can you see what I am drawing?
Yes, sir.
Whereas RNA is single stranded with just steps. It is also twisted. Okay, so DNA and RNA, we'll come back to this again. But inside the nucleus, we are, you know, protecting our genetic material. Between the nucleus and the plasma membrane, what all things can be present are the different organelles in the cell. Okay, name me some different organelles. Come on.
Ribosomes.
And remember, whoever will tell me the name of the organelle has to tell something about it as well. Now tell.
Lysosomes.
Ribosomes. Who said?
I said lysosomes.
Oh, lysosomes. Okay, sorry. Now again I blabbered one more. Okay, lysosomes. What are lysosomes? Tell me.
Lysosomes are suicidal bags.
And why do we call them?
Digestive enzymes. They digest enzymes
So
and
there are
sometimes digest their own self because of that.
So there are some things called lysosomes. Okay. Now these lysosomes, again, terminology. The word lyso or lyse, whenever it comes in biology, Lyse or Lyso, lyso or lyse means burst open, to burst, like a balloon bursts. So lyse means burst or break down. And the word soma, S-O-M-E or S-O-M-A means body. The word soma means body and the word lyso means burst. So these bodies, if they open, the whole cell will burst and die because they contains enzyme inside them which can digest the whole cell. So they are called suicidal bags. Now, just a logical question. Why a cell is keeping something so harmful inside it?
Because
So
when
to destroy for
virus enters the cell, lysosomes kills them.
What enters?
Virus or anything harmful.
Enemy enters
foreign
the cell.
material.
Foreign material.
Foreign material.
But it will also kill the cell. It's like a ticking time bomb. So the moment you use it, the cell will also die. Then why is the cell having it? Why is it called? There's a reason it's called suicidal bags of the cell. Because if they are active,
The cell dies. It
cell
is
dies.
mostly
yes.
it is mostly because when the cell is damaged or it is like its time span is finished, so they burst off and the cell gets digested and new cells take place.
No, but that is the whole activity. You are not understanding the biology, how it has developed. See, if a cell is damaged, okay, let's say something infected the cells and the cell is damaged, or there is a wear and tear and the cell is damaged, or the plasma membrane punctured and the cell is damaged. Anyway, the cell is going to die, right? Because now it's damaged, it will not be repaired.
So the other cells do not get infected.
Exactly. So this mechanism is actually a kind of a biological evolution where one cell, when it knows that it's heavily infected and whatever is inside it can also go out and infect other cells and then can cause the whole system to collapse. So it is an immunological response. It's a part of the immunological response or the defense response of the body where one infected cells commit suicide for the betterment of all others. So instead of suicidal bags, I don't like the word suicidal much because it's have a negative connotation associated to it, right? But these lysosomes also help us to protect our body from a lot of infections because the cells which gets infected kills themselves voluntarily. It should be more of like sacrificial bodies than suicidal bodies. And they kill themselves so that everything which is inside also gets digested. Suppose a virus attacked and the virus goes inside the cell and the virus infected the cell heavily. Now the cell cannot survive. And the virus when it will come out of the cell.
Check your chat box.
Yes. Okay, Rehab. So yes, you can go. I'm just ending the class in 2 or 3 more minutes. Okay, I'll not just but the point was, if a virus invades and the cell is heavily infected, I'm asking you a question, then the cell will burst and will kill every virus particle which was present inside, and other cell will be protected. So we are going through a pandemic, right? And that pandemic is created by a
Virus.
So, and we all have lysosomes in our cells. Then why can't we defeat COVID so easily? Right? This is a question, important question. Now the answer is, because COVID is an intelligent, evolved virus where it can actually fool our cells. It can trick our cells. Our cells never know that something has infected it, you know, unless and until at the time where it kills the cell, bursts open and comes out and infect others. And by the time it's already killed the cells cannot activate lysosomes. Do you understand? The cell has to be living in order to activate lysosomes on its own and commit suicide, like it said. But in case of COVID, it's sometimes not possible. So advanced evolved viruses can still cause pandemic, but not all. Okay. Apart from lysosomes, any other cell membranes, any other cell organelles? Quickly.
Golgi apparatus.
Golgi apparatus is one.
Mitochondria.
What is Golgi apparatus?
Mitochondria.
What is Golgi apparatus?
Modification and transportation of protein within the cell.
Not only proteins, also the fats, lipids also. Majorly for lipids and protein modification, not for synthesis of proteins. So for synthesis, so keep writing down in front of each. Golgi apparatus is for the modification and synthesis of lipids, majorly, and sometimes some proteins. But for the synthesis of proteins, we have something called ribosomes. You remember? These are called the protein synthesis factory of the cell.
Yes, sir.
Yes. And someone says mitochondria. What is a mitochondria?
Powerhouse of the cell.
Powerhouse of the cell, because it produces energy.
Produces energy.
It produces this molecule, this here, ATP.
ATP.
A lot of it. So mitochondria. Now, right, just remember and write down, mitochondria is also double membranous, like nucleus. Okay, it has a double membrane. You must have studied this in your 9th and 10th. I'm just revising it so that I can make you understand other things better. Ribosomes, on the other hand, are non-membranous. They do not have any membrane. Okay. And Golgi apparatus is a network kind of a thing. Golgi apparatus looks like this. It's like a network. Okay. So it has one face and it has other face. It's like a stacked chapatis in over the top of each other, or sheermal to be very specific. Yeah. So double membrane, mitochondria, nucleus, non-membranous, ribosomes, and Golgi apparatus is like a network. Apart from that, any other major thing you are missing? Have you studied about endoplasmic reticulum, ER?
Yes.
What is
Yes, sir.
Yes, such a loud yes. Now tell me, what is endoplasmic reticulum? What does it do? What does ER do? So ER actually, it starts from the nuclear membrane, and it's like a network which keeps going all the way towards the cell membrane inside the cell. Okay. And there are two types of ERs. One is
SER
SER and
and RER.
Smooth.
RER.
RER is
Smooth
for,
and rough.
yes,
Rough endoplasmic.
Endoplasmic reticulum.
yes. So RER and SER. Now tell me the reason why they are called RER.
Because RER has ribosomes while SER does not have ribosomes.
Exactly. So these ribosomes which we studied here, they can either be present independently inside the cytoplasm, and most of the times in eukaryotic cells, they are present on the surface of ER. So now just imagine a fabric, okay, with some zari work. Do you understand what I'm saying?
Yes, sir.
You know, we have these work, zari work or glass work over the fabric for these fancy lehengas and sherwanis. You remember? So if you just try to touch the texture of that cloth, do you feel that the cloth is rough?
Yes.
Because something is embedded on it, beads kind of embedded things.
Yes,
So,
sir.
for the first time when someone stained and looked at at ER inside the microscope, if anything has beads on it, like something like this that I'm drawing, it will look rough to it, right? And one part will look smooth because it has no beads. So RER has ribosomes attached to it. SER has no ribosomes. It has nothing attached to it. Is it clear? Now, there is one more thing apart from plasma membrane, which is present in some kind of cells, which is called cell wall. Do you know about cell wall? It is an additional layer outside the plasma membrane. That is called cell wall. And cell wall is more rigid. Okay, it's not as fluid as plasma membrane. It's very rigid. That's why it's called wall. Is it clear to everyone?
Yes, sir.
Now I'll just stop with cell wall today. And cell wall is present in 3 kingdoms that we are going to study. It is not present in Animalia. It is also
Plantae,
not present in
Monera.
no Protista. So it's present in Plantae. Okay, and the cell wall of plants is made up of cellulose.
Cellulose.
It's also present in fungi. And the cell wall of fungi is made up of chitin. It's another biomolecule which we will study about. The third, it's present in bacteria, which comes under Monera. And the bacterial cell wall or the moneral cell wall is made up of peptidoglycan. Remember, because they come in your entrance. All cell walls are not same in biology. Plantae cell wall is cellulosic, fungi cell wall is chitinous, and bacterial cell wall is having peptidoglycan. Is it clear
Yes, sir.
to all of you? Okay. So, and in the end, a prokaryotic cell versus a eukaryotic. We'll end with this. But next time we can directly start with the classes, the kingdoms. The word pro, write down in your terminology section. The word pro means primitive. It's ulta, it's like opposite of what we use normally. You know, if we say that this is iPhone and this is iPhone Pro, you know, Pro will be having some more features, right? But in biology, it's opposite. Pro is primitive, and the word carry on. This, not the you carry on wala nahi. Karion. The word carry on or karyotic always means nucleus. Remember it. So prokaryotic means those organisms which have a primitive nucleus. And by primitive nucleus, I mean that the nuclear region is not well defined and it does not have a double membranous layer around it. Okay. This is absent in prokaryotes. Will you remember it? Is it clear?
Yes, sir.
And eukaryotes, the word eu means true. And the word carry-on means nucleus. So which means true nucleus. And a true nucleus is this nucleus where it has a double membrane. Okay. So it's present in a eukaryote. Will you remember this?
Yes, sir.
Any doubts? So with this, I end today's class. In the next class, we will directly start with kingdoms and their classification and further on. Okay. And please go back and try to revise and study a little bit on your own about these classification systems and come up with questions in the next